One of my favorite like conservative tropes that Israel engages in all the time is that like international law doesn't apply to us, even though we are a developed nation state with Western backing. However, international law should apply to Hamas, and they're breaking it. It's the classic Trumpian gambit. The Israeli strategy of flattening entire fucking towns. They just don't have it. They don't have that.
In the last few hours, Benjamin Netanyahu announced that Israeli troops are, quote, at the height of the battle in their ground offensive in Gaza, moving beyond the suburbs and into the heart of Gaza City in the north of the Strip. Flanked by soldiers at a military base in central Israel, he said they were making, quote, impressive progress and that nothing would stop them as they moved beyond the outskirts. He also acknowledged the, quote, painful losses of the 19 Israeli soldiers now reported killed since the start of the ground operation. To coincide with this, the IDF released this footage today, a commanding officer rallying troops on the approach into Gaza City. It's now almost a month since Hamas's murderous outrage on October the 7th, and the Israeli army are moving into the center of Gaza City from at least 5 different directions. In their path, the neighborhood...
Yes, the U.S. strike carrier groups in the Eastern Mediterranean are their sole purpose of deterring Hezbollah and any kind of Iranian involvement in the conflict. That's why they're there. They got Saudi forces taking care of any kind of like rocket and drone fire coming in from Yemen on the seaside. And Israel itself as well. This is actually a pretty decent take as well. If Israelis were indigenous to Palestine, they wouldn't be so okay with its destruction. They wouldn't burn olive trees that are older than their constitution. They wouldn't attack historical religious buildings. Their hearts would ache at the destruction of our land. That was back on May 11th, 2021. And it's true.
Of Jabalia. This was filmed for us there last night. The refugee settlement has been targeted twice in the last 48 hours. Hundreds have been killed here. Gaza's Hamas-run Ministry of Health now says over 9,000 people have been killed in the Strip, almost half of them under the age of 18. Little Sham Abu Safia is 1.5, pulled from the rubble, but survived. Brought to the Kamal Adwan Hospital, and after 30 minutes of resuscitation, revived. Doctors we spoke to at the hospital today told us her immediate family were all killed last night. In the north of Israel this evening, this was the scene across 19 different locations. Rockets launched by Hezbollah from Lebanon landed in places like this largely evacuated Israeli town. Along with this cinema-style trailer, the preamble to a speech tomorrow by the leader of Hezbollah, Hasan, the region holding its breath about what the speech will mean by way of conflict contagion. In the south of the Gaza Strip, the Rafah crossing today into Egypt, a bureaucratic bottleneck of both relief and of pain. A second day where the dry administration of stamping passports meets the tears of heartbreak and escape. Egypt, Israel and Hamas have agreed to allow several hundred people through so far, mainly foreigners or Palestinians with dual nationalities, along with a handful of the severely injured. The lucky ones on the lists checked against their passports. VIP access to survival. The majority on the list so far are US citizens, 400 of them approved to leave today.
I'm not even excited to leave Gaza because we have so many people that we love and care about. So right now I'm between ice and fire. I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to see the family that I left behind or the friends that I left behind. People are dying. Everybody is dying.
A handful of the 200 or so.
If you don't have a good passport, you basically die. Brother, There is no world in which the Americans would not have been extracted this far into a bombing campaign. These are the Americans that have a better passport than just non-humans. Everyone knows this. Every Palestinian knows this. There is no lower passport on the American passport than one that is of a Palestinian American. There is not a fucking lower passport, because America internally has like a value system for passports as well. Think about that. Israel's number 2? No, man. Depending on the situation, no. Israel's actions, no matter how fucking violent, are more important to America's interest in the region than like a couple, Palestinian Americans getting killed in the process. I'd keep an eye on Ismail Hania's reported flight to Iran today. Hamas in a pretty grave situation. I wonder if he'll press for greater axis of resistance involvement. Well, even if he presses, I wonder if he'll be able to get it. I think if America hadn't done a hostage prisoner swap with Iran literally right before this, maybe the situation would be different. But I truly believe, not with much information, it's just pure speculation. Wee woo, Hasan speculation alert. I truly believe that America behind the scenes was like working, collaborating with Iran, and they publicly were as well, which is one of the two reasons one of the many reasons as to why Iran has not retaliated in the way that they claimed they would. Allah'ını kırabını sikeyim. Oha herife bak. What do you think of Palestina rejecting several land offers of Israel in the past? Why didn't they agree for peace? Is such a funny question. Yeah, man, why didn't they? Why didn't they agree for peace when Israel, one, at first didn't even have the Palestinians in the conversations, in the talks, or two, when they did finally have Palestinians in the conversations, executed the guy who even started the conversations that gave horrifyingly bad conditions of land to the Palestinians, and last but not least, routinely ended up also claiming that it was actually the sold out Arafat and his side that actually said no to the negotiations, when Arafat regularly said yes to the negotiations and then would say no in an effort to, save face after the fact. Israel has always had the opportunity to just to follow through on their end of the bargain. They never wanted to. They just wanted to continue occupying the West Bank, continue settling. Man, the dialogue trees are always the same. You've been repeating the same shit for how long? 3 weeks now, but 10 years before then.
British nationals stuck in Gaza are also on today's list. Then there's everyone else. Take Gad el-Saka, who's Egyptian, and her daughter, visiting relatives in Gaza when the war started, now trapped inside. The relative's house they were staying in was destroyed. These the tiny handful that got out through Rafah today. There are over 2 million people, though, still stuck inside Gaza. Like this young boy in Jabalia. What else will his eyes see in the days and in the weeks to come?
Well, earlier I spoke to Nibal Fasak from the humanitarian organization, the Palestine Red Crescent Society. They're operating in Gaza and helping to transport patients to the border. I began by asking about the situation for Palestinians in and around Gaza City, where we know there's been very heavy fighting.
The situation in Gaza and the north is catastrophic. Hundreds of thousands of civilians are still in Gaza and the north. Those who were unable to evacuate themselves because there is intense bombardments that is taking place all over Gaza, and literally there is no safe place in Gaza. So now hospitals not only having injured, wounded people, patients, they are now shelters for thousands of displaced people who are currently sheltering in hospitals corridor, lying on the ground because simply they don't have any place to go to. And they were unable to evacuate themselves because there is no transportation, complete destruction of the road and infrastructure. There is no fuel. So, and there is intense bombardments. So the only solution for them is just to seek refuge to the nearest school or nearest hospitals. Unfortunately, those are suffering from lacking every single humanitarian need.
So if you are injured as a Palestinian in that part of the Gaza Strip by an aerial bombardment, what are your chances of survival?
So basically, hospitals now, every single hour, are just receiving hundreds of injured and wounded people. So now those injured and wounded people are just waiting on hospitals corridor, waiting there in line until they got the chance to have the treatment. Now doctors have to make choices and prioritize who is the most urgent situation to start deal with it and try their best to save as much people as they can.
And we know that many people have now been evacuated, injured people have been evacuated through the Rafah Gate into Egypt. How do you decide, how do the authorities there decide who gets to be evacuated and who doesn't?
Basically, there is so much, many standards that have been put, and this is between the ministry, the Palestinian Ministry of Health and the Egyptian Ministry of Health, along with Israel authorities who need to give permission for the names of injured people who are allowed to go out for a treatment. For example, according to one of my colleagues who reported to me yesterday, there was a boy, he is injured and he needs to be transported to get a treatment. The Israel authorities, but not for the father. So sadly, the dad and his son has to go back to Gaza because simply he can't leave his son alone travel to Egypt.
Okay, finally, if you could evacuate all the injured people from the Gaza Strip to Egypt for treatment, how many thousands of people are we talking about?
So basically now the numbers of injured people has exceeded around 18,000 who are now injured. We have inside Al-Quds Hospital, which is operating by the Palestine Red Crescent, 14,000 civilians who are now inside the hospital. Those who are internally displaced, they don't have any place to go to. So they sought refuge to Al-Quds Hospital. We have 500 patients. Many of them are in the intensive care unit. And now Israel threatening us of evacuation orders because Al-Quds Hospital is going to be bombarded. We have announced repeatedly that we don't have the means to evacuate Al-Quds Hospital. Evacuating the patients means killing them because we have patients who are connected to life support machines. We have babies in incubators. And on top of that, every single day, at least for the 3 past days, up to this moment, I'm talking to you, and there's intense bombardments that is taking place on the surrounding area of Al-Quds Hospital.
You paint a very grim picture there. Nebal Fasak, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Now, this afternoon in Tel Aviv, I sat down with...
Bro, we got... Somebody's got to fucking blow up the hospitals, man. We got all these fucking bombs, dog. What do you want me to do? Not use them? On a hospital? Like, but I want to. You fail to consider that I really want to blow up the hospital and demoralize all the Palestinians and punish them collectively for the actions of the militant factions that operate completely outside of their control, even if it is representative of their desires, by the way. Think about how much you want healthcare in America and how far away that reality is, if even it'll ever happen, right? If you recognize that there is no fucking real democratic process and that it would be completely unjustifiable for, I don't know, a foreign superpower to nuke your entire family because Americans voted for, like, the war on terror and shit, especially when you understand the complexities of politics here in this supposed democracy in a developed Western world, then you should be able to very quickly recognize that there's a reason why you don't kill civilians normally, unless you're Israel, in which case you only kill civilians pretty much. Russia, fair. Russia, fair. Except, as you have seen so far, Russian casualties are massive, right? And the Russian invasion is completely unjustifiable, but nobody's killing babies like Israel. Like, Russia kills civilians, absolutely. Russia targets civilian infrastructure, absolutely. These are war crimes. Said this time and time again. But goddamn, dude, they have no, like, if we're talking baby murderer Olympics, like, Israel is the only country that proportionally kills more babies than America, dude. It's pretty fucking nutty when you think about that. With respect to, like, the population that you're dominating and how many babies you kill in that population, in the baby killer Olympics, like, because, like, Israel's working on the off season too. Like, if we're talking baby murder Olympics, like, America, especially with a sanctions regime, has been really fucking ruthless and really mechanical with this baby murder machine, right? America, especially since the 90s, have been really fucking on the top of their game. Now, since then, however, they've been slacking. And in that off season, as America outsources its violence, right? There is a definite, like, you know, 5-tool, absolutely unstoppable force of baby killing that has just risen to take the charge, to lead the charge. And that is Israel, okay? America is on its way out. It's outsourcing a lot of its, like, baby murder factories since the 90s because neoliberalism. And Israel is taking its place now. It's pretty unprecedented to kill this many babies, this many children. Pretty unprecedented. The U.S.'s intelligence, the Syrian leader Bashar al-Assad, Allah Surya Assad, has agreed to provide Hezbollah with Russian-made surface-to-air SA-22 missile system. Wagner has been tasked with carrying out the delivery. I don't know if this is like a way to... I can't tell if this is a way to, like, heighten the conflict and like bring Russia back into the fold a little bit, or if it's genuinely serious. The U.S.'s intelligence, the Syrian President Bashar al-Assad has agreed to provide the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah with Russian-made missile defense system, according to people familiar with intelligence. The Russian mercenary organization Wagner Group, which operates in Syria, has been tasked with carrying out the delivery of the surface-to-air SA-22 missile system, the people said. It is not clear whether it has already been delivered or how close it is to delivery. The system was originally provided by Russia for use by the Syrian government, the sources said. I don't know. I don't know how valid this is. I have no idea. But real ones would put that shit in fucking... real ones would put that shit in Gaza. Okay? If you really want to play around, try to put that in Gaza. Maybe not right now, but just saying.
With former Israeli Foreign Minister Tzipi Livni, and began by asking, with much of the world appalled by the enormous loss of life in the Gaza Strip, what is her response to those critical of Israel?
I'm not asking the international community or the Arab world to turn a blind eye to what we are doing in Gaza. But I would expect them to judge it in accordance to their own parameters and moral aspects. Because what happened is that a terrorist organization, jihadists, infiltrated into our villages, massacred in the most brutal, unthinkable manner children and women and kidnapped more than 200. While Israel, as a democracy, needs to defend its citizens. And while we are doing so, we are trying to avoid, to prevent, or to minimize the civil casualties.
If you're trying to do everything to avoid those casualties, looking at the numbers, you're not doing a very good job there, are you?
You know, I was in the Israeli cabinet security cabinet during 2 rounds of military operations in Gaza. I was also there in one of them. I was also as a Minister of Justice, and each and every target was approved by the Attorney General, asking whether it's in accordance to the international law or not. So in any war, and Hamas
even now, at the moment,
Hamas waged.
One of my favorite like conservative tropes that Israel engages in all the time is that like international law doesn't apply to us, even though we are a developed nation state with Western backing. However, international law should apply to Hamas, and they're breaking it. It's the classic Trumpian gambit. No wonder they love Trump. You know how Trump always says, like, I didn't actually hide classified documents. I had the right to do so, so you should never prosecute me for it. Meanwhile, my enemies, Joe Biden, literally fucking violated the law, and he should go to jail and maybe the death penalty for taking classified documents. Like, it's the classic fucking, actually, no, we're not breaking international law. We're literally doing the right thing, but they're breaking international law, our enemies. It's pretty fire when you think about it. Sorry if you've covered this already, but have you addressed U.S. Israeli intelligence about Hamas under hospital tunnels? As always, free Palestine. Yes, there are tunnels. There are 400 kilometers of tunnel systems, 10 meters into the ground, that are 2 meters high, underneath the entirety of Gaza. Some of those tunnels might even be under hospitals. However, the notion that like they have all of their headquarters under hospitals is a lie, at least according to, or one that has not been proven, at least according to the doctors that have worked at Al-Shifa. If you don't want to believe a Palestinian, for example, because you think that they're like inherently liars or some other racist fucking reason, because you unconditionally trust Israel's guidance in the matter, in their apartheid regime and this ethnic cleansing campaign, then you can trust like the Norwegian doctors that worked at fucking Al-Shifa Hospital who said there was no headquarters of Hamas here. I worked there for years. The other side of this conversation, of course, is that even if there are tunnels underneath the hospital, you still can't blow them up. That is insane. You can't do that. Everybody always tries to play fast and loose with this argument that like, oh, well, it turns into a combat capability. It's like, no, the fuck it doesn't. No, it doesn't. That's ridiculous. It's still a goddamn hospital. It's fucking insane, dude.
War against Israeli civilians. So the comparison, well, they killed...
Even if it does, how do you justify it? Well, you can only justify it by saying, like, the enemy is not real humans, okay? That's the real way that you can justify it. If you think that Israel will be able to run this fucking insane, intense propaganda campaign, okay? If you think that they were capable of running this intense propaganda campaign, when like if Israel did this to Ukraine, they wouldn't be able to get away with it. Okay? Russia did it to Ukraine, they weren't able to get away with it. Russia is a foreign adversary. Israel is an ally. It's the most important ally. If fucking Israel tried to do this shit to like a white country or Ukraine, another country that we have some interest in, they would not be able to get away with this. The only reason why they can get away with it is because everybody thinks Palestinians are subhuman. Like, you can't. There's no justification for these unjustifiable actions.
This number, and you killed more of them, so now it's even no.
Americans and they get away with it? Not true at all. No, I'm not talking about, like, what is it, USS Liberty or whatever. I'm talking specifically about Israel's actions being received by a broader audience of Americans. You're misunderstanding my point. Getting away with it in this circumstance has nothing to do with whether the international authorities will come in and say, don't do that. No, I'm saying that the broader population, if Israel fucking was ruthlessly slaughtering Ukrainians in hospitals and shit, I think there would be a broader movement for Ukrainian emancipation. The only way that Israel's going to be able to get away with this much violence is because their enemies are completely dehumanized in the eyes of the Western world. And also on top of that, when Israel kills people, like American Palestinians, for example, it doesn't matter because they're still Palestinian. And it doesn't get a lot of coverage in the media. This is why I talked about how motivated the broader public is by the American media. Think about how universally condemned Russia is, right? There are multiple factors for that. One is because they do deserve universal condemnation for invading Ukraine. But also on top of that, like Ukrainians being white plays a role, Russia being a foreign adversary plays a role, but the media hitting the hardest in the West, the media hitting that button non-fucking stop absolutely played a significant role. There is no such broad media coverage that Ukrainians were given for Palestinians. It's the exact opposite, as a matter of fact. It is as though we are watching Russia today as Russia is invading Ukraine. This is a special military operation. It's limited. These civilian targets were actually not really civilian, but there were babies in there that were enemy combatants. It is literally the exact same way that Russia today would sell the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Anyone who doesn't see that, anyone who doesn't realize that is a delusional fucking moron, or someone who just purposely is interested in being disingenuous.
This is not the reason of the military operation. It's not about rage, or it's not even about retaliation. We tried everything.
I think it was an Israeli...
I mean, bro, they literally have said that. Yeah, that's true. They literally... Israel is literally doing the same shit Russia's doing. Russia's like, we're here to denazify. We had to invade. Guys, you don't understand. We had to invade Ukraine because we got to denazify Ukraine. That's why we're hitting like Western positions, right? Yeah, who else is saying that? That's right. Israel, motherfucker. That's right. They're saying the same shit, dog. Israel's like, these guys are ISIS. They're also Nazis at the same time. We got to kill all these Nazis.
Writer who said that Gaza is an open-air prison run by some very vicious inmates.
We don't want Gaza, we didn't want Gaza to be a prison. The only way that we cannot afford Gaza to be open, because they are using everything to get weapons, to rearm themselves.
There are plenty of people in this country who have told me you can try and kill dozens, hundreds of Hamas commanders. You're not going to kill the idea behind it. And because of the violence of the last few weeks, the idea will only get stronger.
I mean, come on. You know, people are speaking about ceasefire, but there was ceasefire.
So why? Why didn't it work? Why didn't it work? Time and time again. Why didn't it work? 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 You did it. Like, if it's supposed to work this time, why didn't it? It's like, please, dude, I'm sick and tired of hearing Israeli officials go, one more baby, please, 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 one more child. Let me fucking laser one more Palestinian child, and then we're done. We're done with Hamas. Hamas will be over. I swear to God. I swear to God, one more fucking baby. We need to kill, okay, two more children. We have to kill 2 more children, and then I promise, bro, Hamas is done, okay? It's like you've been doing this for 55 fucking years, and you've been doing specifically what we're talking about here for like the past 2 decades almost. The fuck do you mean? The fuck are you talking about? And in the past 2 decades of this conflict, okay, which is ethnic cleansing, it's not conflict, it's ethnic cleansing, it's one-sided affair, okay, where the other side is just like fucking swinging back as best as they can with no other fucking options. You turn around and you kill more people, and guess what happens as a consequence to that? Supposedly you're eliminating Hamas. Guess what happens? Hamas grows in popularity. It grows in popularity. Because why the fuck wouldn't it? Why wouldn't it grow in popularity? Are you crazy? You fucking kill people's families. Of course, they're going to be like, oh, fuck you, dude. Oh, holy shit. Oh my God. Of course, I hate you. I will do everything in my life to kill you now. Like, well, what do you think? What do you think would happen? It's nuts. This has happened in the evolution of Hamas in and of itself. You know what I mean?
Fire on October 6th, but yet
I'm talking about the long-term arrangement here.
No, but it's a vicious circle. What you are saying is that when we are acting against terror, so then they will hate us more. So if we don't want this war now to be just another round.
Dude, this is the message I'm hearing from every fucking Israeli. And I secretly follow a lot of Israeli quote-unquote leftists, okay? Some of which I follow publicly and they're fine. And then there are other motherfuckers who I don't follow publicly, but I watch all the goddamn time, which like even B'Tselem and shit follows. So like they're supposed to be like they're supposed to be like the fucking leftists of Israel, okay? And I hear the exact same sentiment from them. We're just like, we have to fucking take this fight to the Hamas bastards. We have to fucking cleanse the Hamas bastards. We just have to do that. We have to do that. Secretly following isn't like I just know I recognize their name. So I look their shit up every now and then. And let me tell you, okay? Straight up, a lot of the secret leftists that I secretly follow in Israel that I'm constantly utilizing Google Translate to understand what the fuck they're saying because they're typing in Hebrew. They are fucking saying, yeah, fuck these guys in the West Bank. They're fucking crazy. Fuck those guys. They call them, I've seen people call them Christian settlers, which I think is really funny. Like that's a big I don't know if they're like literally Christians or not, but I can't tell if that's like a joke or if they literally call the Jewish settlers in the West Bank Christian as a fucking meme. I don't know, or maybe it's a Google Translate thing. But anyway, they shit on them all the time, which they are worthy of being shitted on. And there are different reasons as to why they shit on them, because some of them at least are very smart and understand that, like, that's completely unacceptable. You know what I mean? That's completely unacceptable. They're like, fucking reduce Gaza into rubble, right? That's fine, but don't fucking take over more and more of the West Bank because, like, the rest of the global population looks at that and goes, that's disgusting. What the fuck are you guys doing? That's so unacceptable. Which it is. It is unacceptable. So, like, it's more of a self-preservation purpose as to why they shit on the settlers, right? But then the other reason is because some of them are morally, they consider this to be a morally repugnant thing to do. Some of them also simultaneously believe that these guys are like welfare queens, right? Taking money from the government at a time when like there's funds necessary for Israel proper to thrive, right? But no matter what, I've seen the broadest support amongst the Israeli left that I follow and I secretly follow, I guess. And this is still anecdotal, but it does correspond to the Israeli Democracy Institute looked at on this fucking broadcast. They are just very open about reducing Gaza to rubble. They're like, we have to wipe out Hamas. We have to wipe out Hamas. Not fucking recognizing that this this action cannot be solved. You cannot wipe out Hamas until you do an ethnic cleansing in Gaza. In which case, guess what? Now you have Hamas in the West Bank or some other version of it. You can't keep treating Palestinians like dogs in Gaza. They're not separate from the Palestinians in the West Bank. They see what you're doing and they react. Never forget, the colonial force sets the tone and the severity of the violence. Okay? It's not the reaction that sets the tone of the violence. Just like police have always the power to escalate or de-escalate. Why? Because police against the regular civilian has all the power. They have the power to fucking take your... they have the power to take your freedom away. They have the power to do civil assets forfeiture. They have the power to arrest you. They have the power to fucking kill you. right? So they always retain the power to set the tone of a protest. They can de-escalate or they can escalate. They can crank it up a notch. They can even beat the shit out of you, right? Israel, in this circumstance, is the police. They have, being the colonial power, the occupying power, being the apartheid regime conductors, occupying both the West Bank and also controlling what goes in and out of Gaza, operating it like a fucking open-air prison, they have the power to set the tone. They can scale it back dramatically and show the Palestinians that there is actually a cooperative future ahead, or, oh my God, who is Amir Hetzroni? What? They are not leftists, bro, secretly following Amir Hetzroni? I don't know who that is. A leftist Israeli friend from mine from university have so many great conversations about colonialism and racism, and whatever has been pulling out the most unhinged takes about Palestine recently is so insane. Yeah, people that study this shit, that don't understand where it's coming from, think about it only in like theoretical forms. First you were Kurdish Fox, now what? Yeah, I don't know. The guy that got hit with the chair? Wait, the fucking guy who got hit with the chair that makes you gay? I don't think that guy's a leftist at all, isn't he? He's like a fucking weird troll. Yeah, you guys know what I'm talking about? The guy that got hit with the chair that makes you gay? Oh, come on, you've seen it. He's gross. He's such a fucking piece of shit. Fuck that guy. I hate that guy. Not because he got hit with the chair that makes you gay, but I think I've seen him fucking say some really gross shit about a Palestinian artist that was slaughtered by the Israeli Air Force. That's the first time I ever heard of him. Here. Here's the guy that got hit with the chair that makes you gay. Also, there's a top of the hour that hits you, and it also makes you gay. If you no longer want to get hit with that ad, though, all you need to do is subscribe, which you can and should subscribe for $5 for free with a Twitch Prime by connecting your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account. You can also get gifted a sub. You can get hit with a gifted sub that makes you gay. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Heads up, there's some blood in this vid. I know, but it's fine.
كل مش قلت لك
ما انت مش جايب
ما كان
ما انت مش جايب
مين بقى
انت
كده
مش جايب
Yeah, he got hit with the chair that makes you gay. Reddit was right. You are a grifter 1010. Thank you. I am. I love picking the most like statistically unpopular positions you can possibly pick so that like all of the neurodivergent, socially anxious fucking losers who are too afraid of going outside on Reddit can act like I'm purposely picking the most popular positions on the planet. Even though half the shit that I say would get me fucking murdered in like the wrong town probably. It's always so funny. And then they turn around and go, dude, yeah, see, Twitter is not real life, dude. Twitter is not everything, dude. Like, see? It's like, motherfucker, you think I don't know that? You think I have any fucking feeling that, like, the world, the United States of America gives a fuck about Palestinians overall? The fact that, like, even a marginal change has happened is seismic for people like myself, okay? We are very aware of that. I know the other guy was joking about the joke that he said I was a grifter. Oh, Mehdi Hasan, he told me he was going to fucking pop off today. You were kind of antithetical to being on the bandwagon. Yes. Especially because, like, it's not being purposely contrarian or even purposely supportive of, like, popular causes. Because I've been saying the same shit for 10 years. And, like, maybe you think personally over the course of those 10 years that like politics has changed dramatically. So why the fuck was I on it 10 years ago then? So it doesn't make sense. It literally doesn't make sense. If it was unpopular 10 years ago and it's popular now, why the fuck am I grifting? How am I grifting 10 years ago then? But it's not even popular now. There's no socialist movement in this fucking country. Everyone is delusional. Anyway, proving intent is the hardest part of prosecuting genocide, and these freaks are just saying it all out in the open. Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah, but that is always the laughable part about the Hasan is a grifter narrative is that, like, yeah, I'm such a grifter. That's why I've been defending Palestinian emancipation for the past 10 years, like, which is a very popular idea, right? Like, motherfuckers who say Reddit is not real life are the ones, or Twitter is not real life, rather, are the ones who literally think Twitter is real life and get, like, whipped up into a frenzy being afraid that, like, you know, there's going to be a fucking global jihad in every township. Okay? If my positions were popular, I wouldn't have to constantly try to educate people on it. I would just sit back, kick back, and watch fucking fun YouTube videos. You know what I mean?
There's a need to think together about the day after, and I agree with you. The day after, this is something that the international community should work with. The legitimate Palestinian Authority, with Egypt, with the US, with the United Nations. It's very complicated solution. But yet, look at the situation. You have a legitimate Palestinian Authority that is not even willing to take responsibility on Gaza.
But on that point...
What? Bro, there is no Palestinian Authority. You have effectively ripped it to fucking shreds. Suck my dick. It is your fucking fault. You and everyone alongside yourself is completely responsible for the violence that has happened in Israel, both as a consequence of your fucking dumbass arrogance thinking that you'd be able to fucking maintain an apartheid regime without any repercussions whatsoever on the Israeli population that you hail as the superior race there, okay? But also on top of that, thinking that like people are not going to retaliate, that you can just keep fucking hurting people, keep destroying their fucking lives. You personally neutered, maybe not her personally, but you fucking destroyed the Palestinian Authority time and time again. Any Palestinian that was like down to collaborate with Israel, okay, that was down to renounce violence, that was down to say, okay, please just like let us control these fucking territories, let us live a life of dignity, that was down to even accept conditions that are laughable, like that are so utterly and unimaginably cruel and humiliating in every single accord, in every single negotiations process, the deals that were floated that Israel never even had the intention of following through on, that every single person that has even brought up favorable conditions that are not even favorable, that claimed were favorable conditions, were either fucking assassinated or voted out. And then the guy that came after was like, ha, we did it. The fucking idiots thought that they could get a fucking nation. What are you, stupid? We're not interested. And they showed it. They showed that they were not interested with it. There's never been a fucking moment where the settler expansion has not continued. You think 500,000? What is this? Motherfucker's cat is on the goddamn keyboard. You think 500,000 settlers materialized in the West Bank? No, it was a careful, concerted effort over the course of 50 fucking years. You think motherfuckers from Long Island materialized in Sheikh Jarrah? You think that's what happened? Motherfuckers with a Brooklyn accent like, hey, sorry, this is my home now. How did that happen? Israel made it happen. That's how. And they've been armed too. Yeah, Jacob. There is nothing that is more damaging to the fucking existence of Israel than this video, okay?
You are stealing my house.
And if I don't steal it, someone else is going to steal it.
No one is allowed to steal it, ya ammi. Jacob, you know this is not your house.
Yes, but if I go, you don't go back. So what's the problem? Why are you yelling at me? I didn't do this. I didn't do this.
But
it's easy to yell at me, but I didn't do this.
You are stealing my house.
Jacob single-handedly did numbers for the Palestinian cause. You are not the same person arriving at this video. If you see it, is this the first time you've seen it? Like, I mean, I feel like this is a pivotal moment for some. Everyone has a moment of realization in this, okay? You go your fucking whole life learning one thing. Maybe you don't give a fuck about Israel. Maybe you didn't even hear about it. Maybe every now and then you hear on the TV that it's a complex conflict, okay? You see that, you're like, oh, shit, I know what this is. I know what's going on. Get the fuck out of here. No. Not allowed. Not allowed. Pollywood again. Oh, yeah, Pallywood. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. In 2015, there were 60,000 Americans. 60,000 motherfuckers with American passports in the West Bank. Is that Pollywood? 60,000. That was 2015. That number has gone up. Fuck you mean Pallywood? What was your moment of realization about Palestine? Brother, I'm Turkish. Like, there was not a... I don't remember. There was not ever a moment in my fucking life where I was like, yeah, America's been really cool up until this moment, and now my mind changed. It's a little different. If you're from that side of the world, it's a little different. Same goes for my biggest, like, naysayers. Okay? The major point of contention amongst myself and those who, like, agree with me 99% of the fucking road is literally my unconditional and undying anger towards America and its foreign affairs and the way it conducts itself. Okay? That is, like, the number one point of contention. I will always and forever be unimaginably critical of America's actions around the world because there is no way you can learn about the history. There's no way you can learn about global conflict and the Cold War and what America has done, how America has operated, how America has conducted itself everywhere in Africa, Latin American countries, in Asia, everywhere, and come out of that thinking this was good. All of that death and destruction was good. Okay? Especially if you call yourself a socialist. You cannot do that. No shot. And before then, England, okay? You can't look at the British Empire and you cannot look at the American Empire and go, those guys did that for good reason. You can't do that. The only thing you could do is say this, okay? Russia also made tens of war conflicts around the world. So did the fucking Ottoman Empire, dog. So did the Ottoman Empire. And look where they're at now. Okay? They're gone. They're done. They're gone. Like, it's just so stupid. It's so dumb. Yes, I know. So did the Dutch and the British and the French and the Chinese and the Japanese, especially the Japanese. I got it. I know. I'm not saying that, like, some empires are good. This is the only defense you have for it, though. You could always be like, well, what about this? What about that? Okay. That's not the world we're living in, though. You know what I mean? I had a Turkish ex-friend who told me that he supports Israel killing Israel because Palestinians killed people from the Ottoman Empire. Are you shitting me? Yes. Some Turkish people cannot give up on this dumbass fucking notion that like the Arabs betrayed the Ottoman Empire, which they did. They did. They thought that in their post-colonial endeavors that England would be a far better ally, far sympathetic to their plight, and they were fucking wrong. They were so goddamn wrong. They thought England and France would help them. To be mad about this is so stupid. Yeah, they were wrong, dude. Look at their situation. You think it's fine? No, it's not. So shut the fuck up. Yes. It's ironic because a lot of Arabs under Ottoman rule in the MENA region, straight up, XQCL one juicer raid. We got one juicer remaining in this community. Welcome to the jungle, my friend. Sadece öldürmeleri falan değil, teslim olmuş subayların kafalarını gidip kesilmiş kafalarıyla dalga geçtiler. Ne fark eder amına koyayım? Ne fark eder? 100 yıl önce olmuş bir şey. Saçma sapan konuşuyorsunuz şu anda yani. Yapmayın etmeyin arkadaşlar. Allah Allah. Anyway, the point is, yes, a lot of Arab nationalist movements thought that Western allies would be better. Western allies will help them in their emancipatory plight against the Ottoman Empire, and they were fucking wrong. They were super wrong. They fucked them over way more than the enemy that they do know. You know what I mean? All right, they did. I'm Arab and I agree what we did is bad and is against the teaching of Islam. Yeah. Why wouldn't Arabs want self-determination? No, I agree. I think that it was perfectly just. My point is simply that Arabs thought that they had a better shot at